Hey everyone, first and foremost, happy Easter, and just want to shout out Nick Brown from Glappitnova for getting us all together. We got 30 minutes and it's going to be awesome. We have Matthew, who's an award-winning director, filmmaker, and we also got Ezenwanyi Abii, who's a renowned realtor and attorney. But before we start, I actually kind of want to loosen us up a little bit. Do you guys mind? I kind of want to play a little music.
Yeah.
You guys mind? Just a little bit. Kind of get us super crunch.
I
wasn't ready for that. Okay.
I just wanted you guys to laugh. Anyways, we are here today. We're gathered to have a discussion on one question. But before we do that, let's do some introductions. I'm Victoria. I'm your moderator. Victoria Abimbola Agogome Ekwenike, just to kind of get everyone on the same page. Currently work at Facebook as the brand strategy and operations manager. Have a ton of different side hustles. I'm somewhat of an entrepreneurial spirit. So I kind of run a small nonprofit called Speak Now Africa and working on multiple sites that will launch hopefully very soon. So a little bit about me. Let's go to you guys.
Okay, who would you like to go first?
Well, since you're talking, Ezenwanyi, why don't you go first?
Okay, so my name is Ezenwanyi Abii. I guess I have to define myself. I am currently an attorney and a realtor. That's my source of income. I left a full-time job about 30 days ago, well, a little less than 30 days ago, and decided to start working for myself permanently or consistently. I, just like you, I do run a few other projects on the side. I have a podcast that I'm currently working on, post-production part of it for the first season. I'm writing. I've published a couple of books in the past, and I'm working on some things now, but generally my main source of income is my law practice and my real estate practice.
Awesome. Cool. Matthew.
Yeah, my name is Matthew Byori Mann. I'm a commercial and film director and filmmaker. I live in Chicago. I also recently, about a year ago, started my own business. So it's kind of a similar boat. Yeah, I'm just I've been in the film business for about 15 years now. It was 2005 that I started. So yeah, I've been doing it for a while. So
I'm seeing already some trends, and I think this is perfect. All right, so I'm just gonna jump right into the question. I did a little bit of Google searching on Matthew. Ezenwanyi, I know you from the past, so this is gonna be a great discussion. So this is the question, ready guys? If life is so short, why do we do so many things we don't like and like so many things we don't do? Should I repeat it?
No.
It's a loaded question.
No, I think Matthew, since I started, I'll say Matthew can start this time around.
Yeah, wow. Okay, yeah, that's a big question. Because I think I think that a lot of what we do in our lives, we kind of are constantly in this conflict. I don't even know if conflict's the right word, but we're trying to find a balance between comfort and happiness. And to me, that is kind of throughout my career, that's always been kind of a challenge of finding that balance, finding the right things that are going to really really just give your life meaning, I suppose. And I think a lot of the time, comfort it's always there, like with open arms. You know, you're kind of always. I think throughout our lives, we're kind of always programmed to seek out comfort. And I think there's nothing like the situation that we're all in right now with this pandemic. And that really is just a huge eye opener for a lot of people, including myself, of wow, like everything that we have, we don't know. The world can change like that tomorrow, and life is unpredictable. And we really should, make the most of the time that we have, really.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I have some follow-up questions, Matthew. You mentioned comfort and happiness, but before I dig into that, I want Ezenwanyi to answer the question so we don't go off on a tangent, because I have so many questions. But Ezenwanyi.
The initial question. So I think a lot of times we do things that we have to, and we don't always prioritize liking or loving it or want to, because in so many ways we have a system or process and some sort of a plan structure that's been set in place, be it by our parents or society, right? So I think we all start off going through education, then college, then you get a job. Yeah, some people sometimes begin chasing their passion and the things they really like in the beginning or early, you know, after high school. But for most people, there is still this system that we all go through, and we tend to go with it because we don't really think they're alternatives, and we don't know if they're alternatives. But we then get stuck in this space of doing what we should or what we have to. And I don't think the question of, you know, what we love or what we really, really want to do comes up until a little later. So in a way, there is a pattern, there's a structure that we are kind of supposed to follow, and we do that. And ultimately we get to a point where we begin to challenge that and question what we like. And I think your question is that balance of, sure, why do we do things that we don't want to? Because we have to. And then after some time, we can then really assess, now that I'm done doing the things I have to do, what do I really want to do? And how can I pursue that?
You know what? There's some tension there because, Matthew, you first said, and I wrote this down, comfort and happiness. And Z, or Ezenwanyi, sorry, you're talking about things that you have to do. So we're all humans, right? We all, as kids, we probably all loved sweets. You know, that was a source of happiness for us. We probably, you know, loved to be hugged and kissed by our parents. I don't know, I'm making some generalizations, so just roll with it for now. But that was a source of comfort. So comfort and happiness are things that are like innately ingrained in us from a young age. I guess I'm trying to understand when or how the demarcation from like, you know, you have to do something versus going after the things that make you comfortable and happy. Like when does that start to drift apart, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like when does it just click where the comfort and happiness is somewhat turned off or deprioritized and put on the back burner? At like what age, like what are the things that come into your lives where it's like, these are the have-tos? And Z, you started saying, okay, well, system told me to do this. Like, was there an announcement, an email? Like what, like when did it all happen? And like, how does it get ingrained in our minds? Like, was there a memo, email? Like, I'm trying to understand when, and maybe it's different for everybody. So I'd love to hear both of your perspectives on that. And I hope that was clear, the question.
Yeah, I think that was clear. So it's, and I'm taking over answering just because I had a thought as you were talking. I find myself currently, I have two young kids, both 5 and under. And I find myself in a space where sometimes, and also before I had them or right after I had them, there was this book I read called The Conscious Parent, which actively or consciously challenges parenting and why you choose to parent. So as opposed to doing things and saying, okay, this is what you should do and this is what you should not do, to be more aware of what's driving you as the person instinctively and how you're then influencing your kid. So when you say, where does that structure of stuff come in? Like it's very strange to say, but we do it early. Our parents have done it to us and we're doing it to the next generation without even thinking about it. Right? And we have young toddlers, I have young toddlers who want to play all day, but they also are in preschool and they have work to do. So I find myself saying, no, well, from 9:30 till 11 a.m. or till 10 o'clock or till 10:30, you should do this. You have to do this, because if you do this, then we'll have time to play. Then we can have candy. Then we can do this. And without being aware of it, what I am telling them is that you can't do what you really want to do, which is play all day. You kind of have to follow this structure and this pattern because this is what makes sense, because now we have to think of kindergarten and then we'll think of first grade, and wait, you should know this ABCs and these numbers and this stuff because that's what the next step requires. And even as I'm doing it, I'm challenging myself, like, what, why? But then I don't want my kid to be that kid who is not able to do the things every other kindergartner is able to do, right? So it's juxtaposed with the knowledge, or at least the awareness of the fact that a lot of things we have done up to a certain point are orchestrated for us or around us. And maybe if we had the choice, we would choose differently, but a lot of times we really didn't think we did, or we really didn't. I don't know. And I think sometimes it takes some people more time than others. Some people early at, you meet, I'm sure you might have some of those friends at 20 that decided, you know what, I don't think college is for me. I want to go ahead and go do my music thing, do my painting thing, do my whatever creative thing is. And I want to go tinker on computers, whatever it is, but I just want to go chase what I want to chase. And there are some people who, go to grad school, do this, do that, and eventually they fall in line and love it. But did they really, really love it from the beginning? I don't know. I don't think that applies to everybody.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think, for myself, I don't have kids, but for myself at a young age, I kind of knew what I wanted to do. I was about 8 years old when I decided I wanted to be a filmmaker. So it was kind of this weird way of, I knew what the end goal was, and I kind of wrapped everything in my life around that. So the interesting thing with that was knowing where I wanted to be, and then knowing, okay, if I'm going to go to college, I need to go to a film school, I need to study this, and kind of still following that pre-prescribed path, but knowing what the end goal is. And so in for me, it was kind of always there. So there wasn't like a moment where I was like, aha, like this is, I've been studying to be a so-and-so, but then all of a sudden, I had a eureka moment and realized this is what I wanted to be. So in a weird way, it kind of put me in a lane in some cases of, okay, I need to get a job with this. I need to be able to support myself with this. And so even though it's kind of pursuing a passion and this big grand dream, it really was about, okay, how am I able to sustain this and have, kind of material comfort in life and all of the above that you would want out of a career or need out of a career. And so I'm kind of now at this point in my life where I've been doing this long enough and making a good living at it and everything like that, but also asking myself, I guess, the question of is this, are the projects that I'm doing and the way I'm using my skills fulfilling to me as an artist and as a human being? And so I am kind of, in a strange sense, at that junction right now. And to have that kind of drop in, literally, I was right before everything got locked down, I was gearing up for a short film. The last meeting I had, I met with a composer about actually doing this and moving forward with a project that I was really passionate about. And then pandemic, everything locked down. So I think if there's I think that this is like I said before, kind of a watershed moment for, I think, a lot of people on, I think this is a good time for a lot of people to really reassess their where they are in life and everything like that. If you're not in a place where you're, especially if your work has been affected by what's going on, this is a great time to really kind of reassess and ask yourself this very question,
Yeah, I completely agree. I think this is a time, it's downtime, pencils down, for people to really just reassess their lives overall. But there's a lot of things you guys have said, so I got to kind of go back. So I just want to make sure I'm hearing correctly. It sounds as though a lot of these systems are in place from a very early age, and it sounds as though there's no way to get around it, even if we know inherently that maybe that's not the best way to go about it. When you guys were talking, like, some things kind of came to mind. Like, I think about like Mark Zuckerberg or like Bill Gates or like, these big billionaires that kind of went out on a limb and was like, you know what, forget the system. There's this book I've read called Affect Perfection. It's a play on words. I'm not going to curse on here, especially on Easter Sunday, but it's by an author by James Victoria. And he talks a lot about like stepping out of the system, but knowing that you're in the system first, stepping out and then creating your own path. And obviously there's tons of roadblocks and things that you're gonna have to face because, there's a system in place for a reason. So when you step out of that, there's tons of constraints and roadblocks that you're going to face. My question to you guys that I'm gonna face, still on the same topic, is knowing what you know now, do you think that when you have children, I know Ezenwanyi, you have children, Matthew, you don't have children right now, but if you had to do it all over again, would you have gone through the system? like, would you have gone through the schooling? Would you have gotten a job? Like, Matthew, you were very clear about this is what knew you wanted to do from day one. And as Ezenwanyi, like, you talked about, like, you're an entrepreneur, you have a whole bunch of things that you've been doing on the side, but you recently just quit your job. So it's kind of like knowing what you know now, right? Do you think there is a world that is very provocative? And I kind of know the answer to this, but it's so provocative that it's like, I'm going to raise my children not to be within a system, or rather, if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't have gone through the system. So school, university, internship, job, paycheck to paycheck, whatever that system is for you. Do you think there's a world where it doesn't exist?
Wow, that's a big one.
I'm just trying to be provocative here. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, that's because I would have a very loaded answer, so I have to seek brevity and have it just make sense. I'd speak for myself.
Okay.
Would I have done things differently and not gone through the system? So I honestly can't even answer that question, because sometimes I feel like I'm about to talk about the Matrix, but sometimes you're just in it, right? And it's not, there is kind of no getting out.
Thanks, like that.
So I use my personal story, going to law school. So let's say I moved to the US as a teenager. I'm Nigerian immigrant. The culture is you go to school, you get an education. I knew I wanted to write from a young age. I used to write and have my friends read little stories I'd make up and stuff. But did I ever imagine that I could write and earn income and make money and be able to sustain my life? No, that wasn't something that was even an option. It was just, no. You go to law school, you can become a doctor, an engineer, or figure out something else that earns relatively good income and then go from there. But no, you're not going to sit down and write. So that was just something that I completely moved out of the window. So would I have done it differently? I don't know. I would say yeah, because I also know that I felt the need to provide for myself, to be able to sustain myself. And I could not convince myself that doing the passionate projects was a way to get there. What I did do, however, is always keep the fact that I wanted autonomy and control and creativity and adventure. I always had that at the back of my head. So no matter what was going on, it was like, okay, great. How do we ultimately get there? Okay. For example, because we know each other, I know I have to take a lot of loans to get through law school. Great. So how quickly can I get that paid off so I can leave the job and then do the things I want to and let my life. So from the beginning, it's always been this thing of how do I get to where I really want to go, knowing that my path has become convoluted. So real estate became a way to, oh, wow, this is interesting. I can make more money and then pay this off and then get here. So all before a certain age, I could be out and say, okay, cool. I can now be on my own. And if I want to write for 6 months, great. If I want to not work for 3 months, great. But I can craft that life that I want based on these dreams I've had for a while. I don't know if that really answers your question, because I think the answer becomes no, I wouldn't change anything. But that's just because I'm not sure I have the set of options, and it's different for everybody, right? It's different based on where you grow up, your culture, what you have access to. And it's about me personally, I just don't know if it's possible. And I know for my kids, I want them to still have the option to do the creative and happy things, but I also know society, some things are easier than others. Right? So unless I'm willing to fund their creative choices and education forever, which I can't, because I just left a full-time permanent job to live my creative life. So I have to also balance those things out and make sure that I think the greatest gift I'll give them is transparency and options and the conversation to say, this is how things are. These are the options you have. Now go forth and decide what you want your life to be, versus certain structure that some of us are given and told early on and not really exploring what the other options are.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah, for me, I think my answer would be similar, honestly, because I think there's so much self-discovery that happens when you're in the system. You know what I mean? And I don't know if the system is the right word.
It sounds like the Matrix. I know.
The Matrix, yeah.
When you're alive, like just living life general.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I think that I think that there's so much, especially if you're in a creative field and you want to uh, make a statement as an artist. I think you do need to have you need to know yourself a certain amount. You need to have life experience, and while it's while you definitely can get that by just pursuing your dreams, I think that, at least for myself, I mean, the experience of going through college and then getting a job and kind of seeing the things that I liked about the way things were and the things that I think could be better, and kind of doing that from within the industry that I work in, it's hugely beneficial. And I think that for me, and strictly for me, because I think it varies depending on who you are and what you do and what your dreams are. But for me, I think that there wasn't a period in my life where I was quite ready to really go for it, until just recently, when I kind of did start my own business and start really going for it. Because I think that between it's confidence, it's knowing yourself and really truly knowing what you want. Because to really go after what you want, I think you have to really understand yourself and why you're pursuing what you're pursuing, instead of just going for it, and then kind of maybe you kind of have to pump the brakes and go, wait a minute, is this truly what I want? Am I really willing to put everything on the line for this? And if your answer is absolutely 100% yes, no doubt in my mind, then absolutely go for it. But if you're not sure yet, then maybe go to college, try some different things out, see how it goes, see what you like.
So it sounds like it sounds like both you guys are in alignment in terms of the system has its needs, and that you guys wouldn't change anything because there's experiences that you guys get from the system that obviously is putting you guys in the places that you guys are in today. So recently, both of you guys left your jobs. And Matthew, I think I want to hear from you first, because you were just talking about this, like knowing yourself and having the confidence to be like, peace out. Like, you know what I mean? Are there other things like that has taken you over the edge where you're like, I can't do this anymore, I got to do it myself? Or is it just like, hey, I know myself, I have confidence now, I can do this on my own, I have the connection, so I'm out? Are there other things within the system that you're like, this is not for me, I've been there, done that, let me be out now? Like, what was the tipping point, I guess, is the question for both of you, but I want to hear from Matthew first.
Tipping point.
If there was any. Don't want you to make up anything. If you want to go ahead, but
No, I honestly think that there wasn't. I don't necessarily think that I was like there was a like peace, I'm out kind of moment or anything like that. I think it was, but it was. I was at a kind of a junction in my career where I could fire off some applications and try to get a job, or and kind of continue on the path that I was on. There's certain things that were really specific to what I do as a director. So we're working for another company or a production company or something like that, can be good, but I needed to kind of develop my own brand and my own voice as a storyteller. So some of that was kind of, it's still in the big picture, career wise, and maybe within the system. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's always things that you kind of look at and you go, this could be better. I mean, I think this, especially in the culture of the film business and the entertainment business. I mean, we see it everything from the Me Too movement to inclusivity in the media, you name it. I mean, there's a lot that can be better about the industry that I'm in. I would love to be a part of making it better. And that's something that is kind of really important to me and a major goal of mine for my career, to be able to kind of to try to move the bar forward in what we're doing in any way I can, especially in the culture in the film business. But yeah, I mean, there is something really exciting about kind of being your own boss and choosing the projects that you want to take on and really kind of choosing the people that you want to surround yourself with. And I think that's been just an incredibly exciting part of the journey of the last year for me.
Nice. Cool. Ezenwanyi?
Yeah, so there wasn't a tipping point per se, though I think over the past few years, a couple of things happened. Knowing that the desire to do something else has always been in the back of my mind, something else being a different type of structure around my work. Just I enjoyed the job. It was a great company, but I also knew, hey, the ideas I had about success when I started, the ideas I had about what I wanted, kind of like what Matthew mentioned, what I wanted, my ideas of success, eventually I noticed they started changing. And it wasn't this drastic thing that happened overnight. It was just after a while. Maybe it was, you have these goals, these dreams, and then you realize, wait, does this really, really matter to me, right? How big is this carrot that I'm chasing versus what I really enjoy doing and how I would enjoy doing it? So working is great, that's totally fine, but is it how I want to spend my time? Is it how I want to spend my resources? Am I giving or doing the best that I can? And the best that I can in life. I mean, not that at this particular company, but just in what I'm here to do. If this is life and I die, sometime soon, is this really what I would like to do with my time? I think those definitions of success eventually changed, and once I realized that, okay, I couldn't justify why I was doing this anymore beyond, oh, it pays well, it's a stable job, it's a great company, all the yada yada things that you start off with. There was no real fulfillment.
Got it.
And eventually I realized I want to do things on my own terms. I want to do creative things. Success for me became more about managing my own time. I'm having my own autonomy, and I began to rethink life. And I think that's really what did it for me.
Both of you guys are so noble. I commend both of you guys for, leaving your jobs recently and kind of chasing after, your passion. We have 2 minutes left, and I have one last question. I feel like we're just getting into the crux of the initial question, so I could probably spend another 30, maybe even 45 minutes with you guys, top off all my wine. But we got 2 more minutes, and I'm going to ask this one question. I'm hoping it's a one-word answer. You guys recently left your jobs. You guys are doing more of what energizes you and gives you, life. What are you most proud of today? One word, hopefully.
Why don't you go first?
2 words. Okay, a couple words. You guys got 1 minute though. 1 minute.
One word. Okay.
1 word, 2 words. What are you most proud of today after you've left your job?
So I want to say, I guess I can't say it on this platform. I would, for lack of a better word. No, it's a joke. It's a law. It's yeah.
Say
so
it. Say it.
Balls. No, because I said, okay, it's gonna be. Hopefully you can.
Balls. I love it. Love it.
Well, not so. It's funny because I said to a friend of mine recently, and she was talking about having the balls to do something, and she was like, "No, it's a clitoral fortitude. It's not."
Ooh, clitoral fortitude.
Right.
So, I don't know
if that's here. So that's what I was going to say. Not necessarily balls, but
I actually liked it better because I'm all about the movement, and it puts.
And that's the thing, because a lot of times I feel men. I'm not saying that it's easier for men than women, but in a lot of ways, they're encouraged to just, chase the things they want and go for it. And we have to kind of follow rules a lot more, I think.
All right. I'm going to cut you off as one because I want to hear from Matthew before, the curtains come and that music comes and we're shut down.
We gotta go.
So Matthew, what's the one word or two that you said that you're most proud of right now after you've left your job and you're kind of chasing your dreams?
Ooh, oh man, I don't know if I can top that. Most proud of. That's tough. I don't know. I would say something along those lines. Honestly, I can't top that. I can't possibly top that.
All right, there you have it. Clitoral fortitude, and let's just say guts and balls.
Hashtag.
All of that.
All of that to just kind of chasing your dreams. So I think that's it. We're like 1 minute over time. I don't know. And Nick from Glappitnova, you're going to come and like cut the cord. But I just want to say thank you, both of you guys, for taking some time out of your day, especially on Easter, to have this discussion. I thought it was extremely fruitful, and I just want to thank you guys for the time.